This is Engineer Under Review. Today I'm going to show you how to take down this Yamaha Clavinova series keyboard. And my family bought this keyboard in the early 2000s, and my parents held on to it while I was in college, till at some point I relinquished it from them because it was being neglected and never played. This thing has been moved half dozen times as I've moved around. It's not in the best of shape, a lot of the plastic pieces have cracked and whatnot, but it's still a great sounding keyboard. This particular model is a CLP-860, and I've noticed a particular lack on YouTube of high definition videos of how to take these things down. I discovered that these Clavinova keyboards are very well engineered and are designed to be taken apart. So hopefully, if you don't have this exact model of keyboard, what you discover as I take this thing apart is that a lot of the parts and design philosophies carry over from one model to another. So let's get started.
I've been noticing sticky keys and louder thumping of the weighted keys. I was hoping to fix it. First thing you want to do is pull this piece down, lay it flat, and you're going to come to the back of the piano, and there are 3 screws. I've already removed them. But you're going to take them off. And that's going to allow you to push the top piece forward. So you can see it's moved half an inch, maybe. Now it's ready to be lifted off.
This is, excuse me, I've only got one hand here. There we go. Now I've got the bottom underneath.
Okay, now that I've got the top cover removed, you can see all the electronics inside. To get to the rest of the keys, we're going to need to keep this cover up. You could remove it, but I'm going to go ahead and grab a bungee cord and hold it up. Loosely attach it to the back here. Just need a little bit of tension to keep it up so we have room to work.
Okay, I'm going to try removing these little screws here, holding these brackets. Another one here. 4th one here. 5 and 6. I'm thinking this will help me get this key cover off.
Be careful, this screw here is also holding, this guy here. So remember that when you're putting it back together.
Last little screw's hiding. One of them is right in here, over on the left side. And then there's, of course, another one over here on the right side, right in here. Make sure you get those. That should be all the screws to take this plastic cover off. Once you have all these screws off, I've already taken off a little bit, and so I'm going to show you here is a tab on the bottom lip of this plastic cover. So what you're going to need to do is first push it backwards to get it clear of that lip. But then you'll see that the top is not cleared by the rail. So then you're going to pull it, lift it up, and possibly back forward to get it away from the rail. Once you do that on both sides, should be clear. Just be careful. This blue bundle of wires still have tension, so be sure not to that. And it looks like this bundle is tight as well, so just be careful of the wires. I'm actually going to undo this cable management here to give me some more slack. Okay, the actual trouble cable is this guy here. This grounding wire is attached to the frame of the keyboard. Remove this and possibly a few of the zip tie things that are doing cable management, and that should give you enough slack to take this cover off. With that grounding wire removed, we can now tilt up the plastic cover, show all the button electronics, and finally get access to the keys. Now just as a little note, it looked like the screw holding the grounding wire was a little bit different, so I went ahead and taped it to that wire so I know to use it when I put everything back together. You are going to have to remove these brass screws. Like this one here, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think 9 of them. You're going to pull them out so that it should disconnect the keys structure from the rest of the frame. But we're only going to need to push the keys forward just a little bit to give us some clearance here on the back. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here. I'm just getting the screws out. Alright, now that I have all those brass screws out, we got one more here that disconnects the plastic cover to the power button. Pull this guy out. I'm going to go ahead and tape it to this piece of plastic so I don't lose it, and I know that it goes specifically here. And now this piece should come out. There's a little bit of a lip on the front. Be careful with that. Tilt it up and then push it backwards. That should clear everything. And then there is the cable to the power button. That should be fine. Just kind of, hang this out of the way. And then there's the same thing here on the left side. So let's go ahead and remove this one too. No power cables for this one, so I can just put this off to the side. Alright, now that I've removed all the brass screws, as well as those plastic cover screws, I noticed that there are 2 more that I missed, and they're not brass. I'll try to point them out here. There's a... see if I can get the right angle here. So it's right down here. See if I can point it out. Yeah, so there it is. It's right there. This is the one on the left side. There's another one on the right side. We're going to have to take those out. About removing those screws here, be really careful with the speaker diaphragm right here. It's delicate. You don't want to break it. And also know that the driver in the speaker is a large magnet. And so if you're relying on the magnetic power of your screwdriver to get the screw out, it's likely going to not work or get stuck to the speaker magnet. Now that we have all the screws loose, we can literally just push these keys forward because we need literally just a little bit of clearance to pull these keys out. With these keys, you're going to need to get a butter knife. And the spot is right up about here on the keys, which you can tell because if you zoom in real close to one of these keys, see if I can get the camera here to show you. Let's get a little more light. You'll see that there's an arrow right here that points to where the lever is for that key. So for this C, which is key 103, you're going to just push down right here with your butter knife. You feel that little bit of spring tension. You don't need to push too hard, you just need to release the spring tension so that you can then push the key down and it should pop out. Let me back the camera up so you can see that a little better. So I'm pushing the spring down, I'm getting up here to the tab, pushing the spring down, push the tab forward, and then pull up. And this has the key removed. You just kind of wiggle its way out. Make sure you got the clearance you need because it has to slide forward enough to clear its clip. And then out comes the key. And this key looks pretty clean. There's some leftover grease from the... but I'm going to go ahead and remove all these keys and clean them up so they're nice and not sticky. So the black keys work similarly, except that all you have to do is remove the white key nearby and then just push towards you on the back tab and it'll lift up. And that will allow you to remove the black key. And you can see this one's got a little bit of junk on it, so it's a good thing I'm going to clean these guys out. Here's a pro tip I learned from another YouTuber. A problem you might run across as you're cleaning these things out is that this metal spring tab here might come loose from its clip. So it might look something like this. You can see it's not held by those plastic tabs like the one on the left. The one on the right is loose. And that's not going to work as well. You know, if you're putting your pressure down, it's not being held in place, you're going to have a lot less spring force. So you just want to, you know, bend the tab to get it back into place. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. Okay, so this guy's loose. Just want to bend it this way so you can get the corners of the rectangle there underneath the plastic tab, and then you're good to go. So something I noticed as I'm starting to take these keys off is that key number that I showed. Let's see if I can get a good image of it. So this is a C key and it's 103. I'm pretty certain that's actually a part number because that 103 is repeated for every C key there is. So for every letter key, you're going to have a part number. So theoretically, a C key, any C key is interchangeable with another C key. An A key is interchangeable with any other A key. That being said, I like to put the keys back where they were, so I'm going to do this cleaning one octave at a time. Okay, so to reinstall the keys, what's going to happen is this piece is going to slide over the plastic nub here. This nub right here. Meanwhile, it needs to slide into here. So we're going to, the top piece needs to line up on its spring. So you're gonna, have it slide all the way back so that you can get this piece onto the nub. Push it back, and then actually that's it. And then the top piece here will click into place. Most of the black keys will work as long as one of the white keys next to it is not there, but it might actually be a good idea to put your black pieces in first. But the rule, the premise is the same. It's got a rectangular tab that needs to have the nub slide inside of it. And it also sits on top of its spring, and the top here clicks into place. So I'm going to get the rest of my black keys done. And you know it's a black key because they're going to have this stopper to rest on, where the white keys have their stopper up in the front, down here. And just remember, the black ones pop out simply by pulling them down, where the white ones have to have their spring depressed first. And you can see I kept as much of the factory grease on as I could. because it all seemed good to me. It had a little bit extra cat hair I wasn't super happy with, but mostly because I didn't want to go through re-greasing all of it. It still looked pretty good, pretty slick. I'm curious what you guys think is a good recommendation for a replacement grease. My first thought was possibly white lithium grease. At the very least, it will hide a lot better than this, algae green color that they decided to use here. So let me know what you guys think would be a good grease replacement. Alright, so I'm going to say that a couple of these I didn't quite do right because they can slide ever so slightly. I'll show you what I mean. You see how all the keys are uneven? So this guy can slide back and forth, but this guy's not sliding at all. So I'm going to redo these guys because they should definitely be snug in place. So to show you how I'm fixing this sliding problem, I pop this key back out. Okay. So to remedy it, I'm going to, so it's on the nub, it's lined up, I'm going to push it all the way back and then push the top piece down until it clicks. Now to do so, it does end up pushing itself forward a little bit, but because I'm giving it a little bit of tension from the front of the keyboard, it makes sure it gets into place. And now I can see, it slides, but it has tension to push it back into place. Where one of my other loose keys, like this one here, if I push it down, it stays out of place, and I have to push it back from the bottom to get it back into place. So I know that this key I'm going to have to fix as well. So push it all the way up, and there we go. It's got its tension. So to put it all back together, you just follow the steps in reverse. My tip is to screw the keyboard in loosely. Make sure you adjust it into place before tightening all the screws. Then you just need to turn it on, make sure you plugged everything back in, and it should be good to go.